This is where we hold them. This is where we fight. On these shields, boys!
Well, social media is absolutely blowing up in the past couple of days, and rightfully so. I have a story for you about this war that is taking place right now and why it is polarizing the American public and the Christian community. Other Christians are literally angrily calling each other out, calling them names, posting different ideas, saying the other person is crazy. This has been orchestrated by design. American public, the American Christian, especially right now, is so polarized in their mind. They have no idea what has happened to them. And that's why the Christian network was formed to help solve these issues for you. Right now, there seems to be two sides to this coin. America attacks Iran, and you have the boomer age, maybe slightly younger, around my age, that is polarized from 40 years, 50 years of repetitive information about, like, if a conservative president starts to do something, that means you stand behind them or you're anti-American. And then you have the liberal side that if any conservative president starts to do something, they're immediately Hitler. And I want to tell you something. This is polarizing on purpose. And now the Make America Great movement is even being shattered because half of it is finally, after 100 years, waking up to the fact that Israel has captured the church. The Zionist movement infiltrated and sent fake pastors out into the churches to get this polarization set in place so that Christians would blindly follow anything Israel did. But when I say this, we're talking about Zionist false Israel, the type of Israel that exists where rabbis and Jews who have lived in this for 2,000 years, their ancestors have been living there, are against what is happening there. They call it out for what it is. Right now, if you are an American, you have been so brainwashed by what has occurred in the Middle East and your so-called ally. You have been taught to bypass and not look at 2,000 years of history and what has taken place in Christian countries with this same thing that is happening in America. So we have two sides of the story coming out. I posted a few things on social media recently on Facebook and different places. So crazy right now that they cannot even think for themselves. And all they can do is repeat talking points that have been brainwashed, embedded into their head so deeply they can no longer rationally think. It's cowboys versus Redskins. Why don't you like the Redskins? Oh, rah, rah, rah. Why don't you like the Cowboys? Oh, rah, rah, rah. Who cares? That's all fake. It's a big show, a game. But they've lost concept of the big show. They have no concept of how the art of war from Sun Tzu is played out amongst all of us. How this nation, this false ally called Israel, has taken control of the church and the conservative movement and led people down a path never, ever would have agreed to go. Right now, you have the Middle East and this imagery coming out that of these Iranians dancing in the street and so-called, and I think that was even from years ago, but dancing in the street saying how they're going to be liberated and how happy they are this has taken place and they love the United States. And they have no clue what has really taken place and is going to happen to them. And you have social media posts blowing up everywhere with images of this and how America's so great and we liberated the Iranian people and look at the peacekeeping stuff we're doing. And they've lost, these people doing this have completely lost their cognitive reasoning. We have an entire nation right now that's being run by Epstein file listers, the most grotesque and horrifying people since biblical times, since the time of Molech or Baal, right? They're running your country. Do you think you're getting straight information in the news from these people? And here you are believing them. What's really going on with this and the division? Because they don't care. Because the plan is to roll out this digital currency system. Israel has been working now for years. This is 80 years almost in the planning for the Greater Israel Project. That is the takeover of the entire Middle East with Israel and these Zionist people as the global world aristocracy and leaders, and everyone else as a slave race, especially Christians if they allowed you to live. Oh, that is shocking. I can't believe you're saying that. I need to skip off of this. This is offending my cognitive dissonance. The issue is you don't realize what's been going on. Old Bibi there has been talking about Iran having nuclear weapons whenever he first came about, but they don't tell you about Kennedy catching Israelis smuggling out and selling off America's nuclear secrets and smuggling weapons-grade uranium illegally to the Middle East so they could build a nuclear bomb. So outraged was Kennedy that he made their prime minister resign, which shortly after Kennedy, as you know, was assassinated. A story they don't want you to know, these Epstein listers. So what we have going on now, everyone is fighting about the absolute wrong issue going on, the wrong narrative. Two sides, the conservative and the liberals, fighting over issues that are unreal. They are surface level baloney. Do you think that the Israeli Zionists under Bibi care about the Iranian people at all? Look at Gaza. Do you think they care about liberating that country? Where is your common sense at all? You didn't realize that just recently, President Trump flew and went to Syria. They signed a $600 million contract regarding the formation of this global digital currency. You know, like the crap they have in China where they monitor every single thing somebody does, and if they say the wrong thing, they cut off their money so they can't buy food or pay their rent or turn on their heat because they're not following the communist dictates. Well, where do you think they got all these ideas? Where do you think the banking systems that controlled all that and set up communism in China came from? Well, it was the same power grid, the same people who set up the Bolshevik communist system in Russia, which were these Zionist individuals, formulated the whole thing. If you think it's gone away, you're grossly mistaken. Now, what's really going on in Iran, why they've been talking about nuclear stuff and they're such a big threat and all that. Do you realize that when the man with the mustache in Germany took power, he wasn't a big problem until he kicked out the Zionist banks, which were leading that country into ultimate poverty. When he kicked the banks out, like the issues going on with Russia, they kicked the Zionist banks out. When he kicked out the banks, the newspapers, you can still find the clips, they nationally declared war on Germany. We were always taught that Hitler was this horrible aggressor, this madman who just hated people. But it turns out he saved his people from the Weimar Republic, and his whole entire speeches, he was telling about how he saved his people, and he saved probably another 20 million people from being murdered, because in the Bolshevik Revolution, led by these same people that Hitler kicked out of his country, these Bolshevik supporters, they murdered 50 million Christians in the Soviet Union. The part of the story you don't get told. So what's the part of the story about this war with Iran right now? Well, Iran, although I have no agreement whatsoever with their government, but I bet you didn't know that probably the second largest population of Jews in the Middle East live in Iran. They've been there for 2,000 years. They've been there longer than that, probably ever since the exile, where they were exiled to Babylon. And some stayed and didn't go back to Israel. They live there now. I bet you didn't know that. But the big issue is that the government that was in Iran would not allow the banks, the Zionist banks, which control America, which once controlled Germany before they threw them out, they would not let those banks in the country because they were Muslim. They hated those Zionists, and they didn't want the banks in there controlling their country. So this has been all the other stuff that has been mentioned about threats of bombs and all of these kinds of things. It's been a smokestack, a complete smokescreen, when you didn't realize what the whole mission is. The whole mission everywhere is about financial global control. And those Zionists, you know how they love their banks because it controls everything. America, with this new movement in Iran now, this cover up for the Epstein files, has been controlled by this banking system for a long time. And now half of the Make America Great movement has figured it out because they've discovered that Project Judas has been instituted since the formation of Israel, instituted by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. All of this was a construct and a plan. And you have been duped, as I was duped for a long time, into following and believing it. But now you're waking up. Israel considers itself in the Greater Israel Project as the center of world dominance. Bibi Netanyahu wants to go down as the next Alexander the Great. And it is the belief system within the higher-ups of these type of Talmudic beliefs that they should rule the world. The world belongs to them. Christians and everyone else is cattle. They should be their slaves, and they need to reduce the world's population down to a number where it's easily manageable. And they intend to run this centralized government out of the Greater Israel. So there's a program that has been going on. You have never heard of it. It involves creating a mass, centralized city, this Greater Israel project where they take over Gaza, the West Bank. They move into controlling and taking over Iran. Back 20 plus years ago, one of America's leading generals from the Pentagon revealed that as far back as that time, they had planned to attack every single Middle Eastern country that America has invaded for Israel. It was all pre-planned. Why? Because they want to create this one world government to recreate the failure of its formation before Christ returned, maybe 2,000 years ago, and had a millennial reign. And when they left for the camp of the saints, don't leave me yet, when they left for the camp of the saints, of which you can find on old maps in the northern part of the earth, our plane we live on, you can find maps that says Land of Jesus. Look it up on Google Maps. It's blurred out right now. In the book of Revelations, it says in the last days they will encamp and encircle around the camp of the saints to try to destroy it. And then God comes down and burns up all the armies. Well, right now, what do you think is being recreated? Israel, like it or not, you Zionist Christians, Israel has duped you into supporting them. And the whole mission is revenge. You haven't figured out they hate you. They don't like you. You are a tool for money and building bombs and to act as soldiers for under a greater deception, the Greater Israel Project, and something called NEOM, N-E-O-M, I believe. It's a project where Trump met and they planned, it was $600 billion to go up to $1 trillion in the instituting of this global banking AI system and digital currency where everything you say and do can be monitored. They can, just like China, turn off your money. They have passed the Noahide laws. You didn't know that. It took place where basically they passed it for these rabbinical Jews that if they don't like what you're saying, if they say you worship Jesus, death penalty. Did you realize Congress passed that bill to appease them? I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know just how far the infiltration is. Now you do. Now you know why we invaded Iran. It was to destabilize that system of government so they could bring in liberators, because now for about a year, the Israeli government has had Mossad and CIA infiltrating and causing these riots. They destabilized the economy so that people would go crazy. They destabilized. This has all come out before Congress, before they cut them off, and what they were talking about. They were talking about the satellite phones and the Starlink systems that they brought in for these agitators. You know how they do with the Soros stuff in America, and all of a sudden you wonder, where did this giant riot start? Where did all these people paid for riots, destabilization, and Starlink systems sent over so they could communicate when Iran tried to black out communication systems? They had Starlink sent over and the Mossad controlling to create this whole entire event that you're seeing take place. So while you're arguing on social media, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, you have no idea what the crap you're talking about. It's all part of Edward Bernays' Sun Tzu psychological programming to keep you fighting in a destabilized situation so you forget about the Epstein files. Do you think the people who are on this Epstein list running the media, giving you the information you think you're receiving, Democrat and liberal, do you think they care about the Iranian people? Do you think they care about humans at all? Have you seen the information about what they did to children? Some of your favorite actors and politicians? What is wrong with you? Where did you as a Christian lose your discernment for understanding reality? This is not a football game. Do you understand? This is not the Cowboys versus Redskins. I feel like I'm in retardedville sometimes with the mindset that Christians have been led down, where they spend probably several years, 24 hours a day of lifetime watching sports. It's insane. What has happened to you? You have been so utterly brainwashed. It's like the Matrix in reality, where they don't want to break away from the false system. But now you know what is happening. Now you know you're arguing about stupid points. Non-Christian, non-reality, non-based in any evidence. Propaganda, emotionally filled guidance. This is how media works. Who runs the media? Who owns it? Why can't you think very straight? Who owns the food companies putting the poisons in your food, making your thoughts unclear? Oh, the same people who own the media. Are you catching on to everything? Your entire country, the corporations have all been infiltrated. Since World War II, this began and grew and grew and grew to the point where now even Christians, as you read in the book of Matthew and read in the book of Revelation about how the angel of light deceives the nation, that even the elect could be deceived. And that means the Christians could be deceived. And I'm telling you, if anything at all, look at the Epstein list, the people you worship as heroes right now. Has Donald Trump done anything about the Epstein list? Right? Horrific things. We would get rid of every single one of them. Nothing is being done. Cover up. We were told we went to war just now, spending billions of dollars our children and grandchildren will be indebted for. And it's not for the reason we're being told. It's for the greater Israel product. Let me tell you guys, Christians, it's time to wake up. And if you want to fully start beginning to understand what's going on and why this financial hardship, why grocery prices are going insane, why younger people can't even afford to buy a house, why all of this is going on now, Christian Network has created 2 different books. One is called Reason to Believe. It will allow you to understand how all of this Epstein type of stuff is going on and how it's been manufactured and has been instituted and by who. So this is a learning manual that every Christian needs to read. It will be in the comments and in the description section below. Reason to Believe. You must read this book. The next one is called Biblical Wealth. And it is about helping you to restore what they have hidden from you, the secrets and the tactics that they are using to make themselves wealthy and to impoverish you in a mindset of slavery and 9-to-5 corporate, workaholic, get nowhere, blindsided life. Get the book. It's a teaching manual called Biblical Wealth. And the third part is join our group. It is off social media, off of Facebook. All of them are controlled by the same people, censoring. Wait till this escalates about this war. How much censorship will start cracking. You can't get information anymore. These manuals that we have created to learn from, this is from censored information before they scrubbed the internet. Can't get it from AI. In case you guys haven't known or seen any of our reports, AI is being run by the beast system. And it absolutely admits that it will never, ever help you truly accomplish any kind of business wealth. It is meant to censor and snub that to protect the corporations. It's never going to help you invent something. It's there to restrict you and to gaslight you and to give you false information. You're not going to go in there and find the answers to life. So join our group. Support us with your monthly donations. Not much. You will never notice it, but it will sure help us to continue to get this message out there and to wake up the Christian nations, because they are under a complete and utter deception now from the Judas Project, where a majority of Christians are calling themselves Judeo-Christians. That is like saying, I am Judas, or a Christian Zionist. That is you being Judas going back to the scribes and Pharisees. Do you understand? The whole entire New Testament was about creating a dividing line between the two, between light and darkness. And I hope you're seeing now that this Zionist movement, this formed by Bolshevik communists who killed 50 million Christians, who started and helped begin the foundation of Zionist Israel, they don't like you. They're just using you. And they're literally flying pastors to the Middle East, filling their pockets full of shekels and propaganda, training them in training programs of how they can go back to America and round up Christians in a form of Christianity to support their Antichrist mission. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know there was a military fort that Erica Kirk visits often, where a program was developed to create fake Christian leaders, teach them how to talk like Christians, to lead, and to encapsulate them for Zionist causes. I bet you didn't know that kind of stuff existed, but now you do. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to go back and fly an Israeli flag in your church with the Star of Moloch on it? Are you going to continue to support the absolute people who are trying to destroy your country? Bibi Netanyahu said, his real name is Benjamin Kowski, said almost 30 years ago they plan to divide up America and sell it off over and over again and destroy it. What are you missing with your ally? What are you missing, Christian nation? That's it for today. Join us, get these books, understand what's going on, and get out of the matrix, guys. Get out of the matrix.